We're live. We're live.
Somehow.
Mixed Martial Angst podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Cohn. Joining me today, tonight, Bilal Yusuf, because Alejandro is gone. It's just, we've lost him.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
To work. He's too busy for us now.
Yeah.
It's kind of an awkward intro.
I believe busy with, doesn't he say he's busy with silver nanoparticles or some shit?
I think he just lies. I think he's just on a drug trip. Just all of the drugs for 3 weeks. He just comes back and goes, "Man, that was great. I feel real refreshed."
Making sure he enjoys everything before, society collapses. You do know that's the ultimate ending of Khabib Ferguson. They book it for the up-in time and just the entire world collapses.
Basically. That's what it's going to be. UFC 468, Khabib versus Ferguson for the interim BMF title.
Yeah. Probably in the ruins of Las Vegas or something during the zombie apocalypse.
It's just 90-year-old Khabib and 93-year-old Ferguson.
Yeah, a genetically modified man-bear Khabib versus zombie Ferguson. That's how it's going to play out exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be real competitive.
Yeah, how can Khabib choke that which does not breathe?
Can Tony funk on that which is already funky?
Exactly. Can you ankle pick a bear?
Do bears have ankles?
I think that's the real question that we need researched.
Hi, I'm Steve Owen. I'm going to tell you. No. All right. Neither of us are drunk or high. We're just. I've been recording for
missing our Mexican friend.
We are missing our Mexican friend. He's the glue that holds whatever the fuck this is together.
Yes.
UFC 248. First of all, if you are listening to us, please stay safe. If you don't feel well, stay home from work if you have that ability to. If you don't have that ability to, I don't know what to recommend. I would say stay home if you can afford to. It's not worth it. Do your best. Wash your hands. What?
If you're introverted like me, just fake sneeze everywhere until people tell you to stay home. So
do that too. Lie.
Yeah.
If you need to lie. But wash your hands. Don't touch your face as much as possible unless you're in an environment where you're not in public, obviously, and you just washed your hands. You can maybe touch your face if you really need an itch, but if you got an itch, but ideally don't. Just be careful. If you make sure you contact your doctor as soon as you might be feeling symptoms if you're worried. If you're in contact with somebody who is displaying symptoms, you should assume that you could potentially have symptoms. So just be careful. And that's really it. PSA.
Yeah, and if you don't like someone, just touch their face. So
that's not part of the PSA. Goddamn.
It'll work, wouldn't it?
Okay, maybe if it's Dana White.
I don't know. I suppose there's a lot of people it could work on.
Anyway, UFC 248 happened. It was headlined by Yoel Romero versus Israel Adesanya, and the fight kind of sucked. So
are you talking the 5-round mental battle?
Yeah, that was a 5-round battle of. Listen, you say what you want about Holly Holm, but at least she throws. Not good, but she throws punches.
I really wanted Al on here for this part of the discussion because I have a feeling this is exactly the type of fight that he masturbates to.
Oh yeah, he was talking about how he really liked it.
What the fuck?
They combined.
Every time we have.
Listen, they combined for 98 landed strikes. 98 landed significant strikes over the course of 25 minutes.
I'm guessing 70% were leg kicks also.
I can check.
Which, not not bad if like a normal fighter, but very bad if it's against Yoel Romero,
Dude,
who's famously known for reacting to bodywork.
dude. 52% of Israel Adesanya's landed strikes were leg kicks, and 32% of Yoel Romero's were leg kicks. They had a combined 38 leg kicks out of 98 strikes. So,
My God, this is such a dumb fight.
in comparison,
I'm so glad I was not sober for this fight.
In comparison, in the first round alone, Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk landed 60 significant strikes. By the second round, Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk surpassed Yoel Romero versus Israel Adesanya and Israel Adesanya by more than 20 strikes.
Do you know what? I think going forward, the UFC should just book whatever weight class is lowest as the main event.
What?
I'm saying going forward, I think the UFC should just book whatever weight class is lowest as the main event. It doesn't matter who the fuck is fighting. Just if it's lower, it gets main.
Listen. Let's put it this way. I think that Cindy Dandois versus Alexis Davis had more significant strikes. So, make of that what you will.
Yeah, no, Diego Sanchez versus Michel Pereira was more entertaining than this fight.
True. Listen, let's talk about it like this. We're not going to pretend there weren't some interesting things that were going on. We're not going to pretend that Israel Adesanya didn't necessarily have the right idea. We're not going to pretend that Yoel Romero's, not biting on any of Israel's feints was really interesting and his defense wasn't great. But the bottom line is that fight sucked. You have to throw if you want to be entertained. If you want to be remotely entertaining, you got to throw more. Do I care? No, because Israel Adesanya saw what happened with Robert Whittaker, who did fight Yoel Romero, and watched him get ruined. So Israel Adesanya walked out completely unscathed with a unanimous decision over Yoel Romero. By the way, Yoel Romero's record only being 13-5 is fucking ridiculous, but I digress. So yeah.
Didn't Israel need to get sent to have both his feet x-rayed after the fight?
Maybe, but honestly, that's a way better situation than whatever the fuck happened to Robert Whittaker's entire body.
True. And also what happened to Chris Weidman's durability. And Chaka's durability. And Luke Rockhold's durability.
Switches over kind of shot.
And Derek Brunson's fighting ability in general.
He beat the good out of Derek Brunson for like 6 years.
I know we joke, but it's really true.
I've
never seen him better than that Romero fight, and then afterwards it's just been a constant decline into what the fuck.
And then he turned up in his last fight,
looking
great.
Okay,
looking great.
He's a good athlete, so he just needs to look okay to be good.
Maybe. I don't want to talk about this fight that much. I actually kind of predicted this being slow. Everyone was kind of predicting this being an exciting fight, and I actually take pride in the fact that I didn't think it would be this bad. Don't get me wrong, but I was I can kind of see this being a tentative, simmer at most, at best, and I hope I was wrong. But the only thing I was really wrong in was I said the kicks would be to the body and they were to the leg, but yeah, it's certainly wasn't great.
I don't know. When I was talking to Audrey about it, I was kind of I can see both of them kind of being bad style matchups for each other. So I don't know which way to go, because Yoel Romero looks for leads and then suddenly bursts, and Israel looks for leads and then builds his game. And then instead of either of those happening, which is what I couldn't decide on, just none of it happened.
Yeah, well, that's because Israel was kind of waiting for Romero to maybe bite on some of his feints so that he can get his reads, and Romero bought none of them. Just literally was just stand there until Izzy actually threw, and that didn't really let Izzy build. And it's kind of frustrating. Israel didn't use the jab at really, kind of just felt comfortable kicking from the outside as much as he could, and it really there's an argument for both of them winning, I personally gave it to Izzy. I don't care. Honestly, it doesn't bother me because come on, both of them have given us such incredible performances over the past few years. Like I really don't get bothered if you throw in a stinker. Um, but you know, I don't think anyone really enjoyed this fight. So yeah, um,
Yeah, well, aside from Al,
yeah. Well, fuck out. He's not here to defend himself.
but yeah,
Uh, Weili Zhang
although it
versus Johnny.
was,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, it was kind of interesting to see, like, because obviously not many people have like a body made of stone like El Romero. Like the dude is basically a walking statue.
Correct.
So it was a bit interesting to see someone who just give Izzy zero reads at all. Like usually against even hard punches, the trade-off is you will land on Izzy, but you will get some reads. And like faced against someone who would give him absolutely shit, he just had zero idea what to do. It's like
That's what I'm
how the
saying. Like you have to when you have someone who's like defending like that, you have to force them to do something in order to land. And Izzy kind of just was like, gonna do nothing, and I'll just try and win a very low volume kickboxing match, and that's what he did. So credit to
just
him.
because
I have no interest in seeing this fight ever again. So Izzy can kind of move past that. I think that Costa is a really interesting matchup for Izzy for at least 2 rounds before he gases.
yeah, I don't think Costa's gonna win. Honestly, like I can see a scenario where you might, but like
I could see
between
him
the
fin.
pace,
I don't know. I
between
could
the
see him
pace he
finishing
pushes
Izzy.
and
But the
well,
problem
he
is
kind of
Izzy does rely on you biting on feints, right? Costa's not going to bite on any feints either. It's just going to be that he's also going to throw insane volume and power while doing so.
yeah, but that's the other side of it. If you're not gonna bite on his feints, then throwing that volume is still gonna give you a lot of reads.
You're
And I
right, but will
kind
he
of
have time to really make those reads if he's too busy defending? I don't know. And again, we have seen Izzy struggle when pressured. Is he better at it now? I think we can say yes, but that's kind of like against a burst fighter like Robert Whitaker. We saw him do better. Um, I don't know if consistent pressure is something Izzy's really going to be able to hold up against. He's durable, obviously, but I don't think I can eat the shots that Romero ate from Costa and be durable enough to take those.
yeah, but like the thing is that I kind of get the feeling that Costa's meat and potatoes kickboxing game is like Israel has kind of seen that lots of times before. And I don't trust that Costa will like have a gas tank that takes him past round two.
I don't think that that's really a fair
So
comparison to say like he's seen it before. Well, okay, so let me get this straight. You think he didn't see Marvin Vittori's meat and potatoes kickboxing before, but he looked like shit against Vittori. Vittori. That's what I'm saying. Like, is MMA. This is not kickboxing. As much as we say like, oh, Israel is a legit kickboxer, obviously, it's MMA. It's different. Otherwise,
no, I
Gokhan
get
Saki
that.
wouldn't have gotten knocked out by Khalil Roundtree. Like,
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I get that, but like at the minimum, it would at least prepare him a lot more than let's say a Johnny Hendricks versus a Paulo Costa.
What?
Now I'm saying at minimum, it would prepare him for the style matchup a lot more than let's say how Johnny Hendricks was prepared for Costa.
Okay, I'm not
You
really
get
sure
what
I
I'm saying?
understand.
Okay, so we both know that Costa has like a very meat and potatoes pressure kickboxing game, right?
Okay. I mean, yeah.
Which is somewhat common in the kickboxing circuit, especially with many Dutch fighters you find, right?
Okay.
So Izzy has some reference point for how to fight those fighters, right?
Hmm?
Israel has some reference point to how to fight.
I don't. Again, I don't agree because again, yeah, like it's a different sport. The gloves are different, obviously, and it does matter as much as people want to pretend otherwise. Um, and keep in mind that it's not a ring. Like it's a different. It's I don't know. I don't like
Yeah, no
to.
pressure. You can pressure more easily in the ring though, because it has corners.
Yes, but it's also linear. Like the ropes are
What do you
linear.
mean
There's
linear?
no the
Oh, you're talking about
the
yeah.
constant turning of the cage as well changes things. And I don't want to say that obviously Israel is. I don't think Israel's going to necessarily lose to Costa, but I think you're downplaying how effective Costa would be in that first round and a half for sure against
Oh no,
Israel.
he's going to be super effective in that first round. That's why I mentioned both the style and the fact that I don't trust Costa's gas tank.
Oh no, I think it's going to be his gas tank that fails him if he loses. If Costa can get him out of there in the first round or two, I think. Well, I mean, I think that's a pretty high likelihood actually. Um, I wouldn't be above saying probably a 30 to 35% chance. Um,
Yeah, like a 30% chance seems reasonable
yeah.
that
Let's
he
move
gets it
on
done.
to Whaley versus Joanna. What a fight, first of all. So bravo, phenomenal stuff. Honestly, just amazing. Uh,
Yeah,
I picked Whaley. I did not think that Joanna's chin was gonna be able to hold up to those shots, but my God, wow,
yeah, like what the fuck? An entire face fell apart before chin, dude.
it's crazy. Um, I would never have guessed she could eat that kind of power and that amount of punches at that power level and just eat it. I scored the bout 49-46, 4-1 on first watch. Um, I can see Iwana getting a second round on second watch, but man, I don't see much. I mean, round three, like they were like every round was virtually even on strikes except for rounds 2 and 5. Uh, I mean, I don't know. It was a really close fight. There's an argument for Joanna winning. I don't agree with it, but
Yeah, I didn't bother scoring this. It was just too close and enjoyable.
I think basically the dynamics of the fight were pretty well covered. Joanna's kicking game, her really stellar kicking game, came came in handy. Both of them landed a ridiculous amount of leg kicks, 58 apiece. Uh, the major difference in strikes was the body punches, body strikes in general, 32-11 in favor of Joanna. They were equal in head strikes, equal in leg strikes. I mean, Joanna did outwork her in the clinch, 2-1 in
Yes,
strikes.
I was so
Um,
happy when I saw that guy.
yes, and what's interesting is that most of those strikes happened in just a couple of rounds. Like for the most part, Whaley stayed out of the clinch, which was smart.
Yeah, because Joanna didn't really push for the clinch that much. It was sort
Right.
of like the Rose fight again, where her opponent pushed for the clinch, and then she just ended up there and like won the
Right.
exchange there. Which
Yeah, and this is
I still blame ATT for that. Like, how the fuck can you have one of the best clinch fighters in the division and like you don't tell her push for the clinch, or at least teach her clinch, put more focus on clinch entries.
well, I'm looking. When did she switch to AT&T? ATT.
Uh, I think it was by the Andrade fight, just before it, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, she didn't clinch with Carolina much. Oh wait, no, I'm wrong. She clinched a ton with Carolina. And she beat the shit out of her there too.
Yeah.
Did she clinch with Andrade? Let's see.
No, she largely, well, as far as I
No,
remember, she largely,
lots of strikes in the clinch, lots of them.
no.
32 strikes landed in the clinch. Like she murdered her at distance, but she did have a fair amount in the clinch. Either
Mm,
way, that's not the point. The point is that we saw this kind of like Whaley was able to kick with Joanna, which was a big deal, and that's what made Joanna have to exchange with her. And the problem was again is that Whaley is going to have that bigger power. She has better punching mechanics, and I guess is more organic and more natural at punching in these mid ranges than Joanna is. Joanna's form and punching form and combinations are very rote. They're not necessarily great. And that's kind of the problem is that Joanna was constantly there to be hit. Now, don't get me wrong. Joanna landed at a better clip than Whaley. Whaley actually threw more and landed less. But the bottom line is she threw when it counted. She landed when it counted. Uh, And the damage was clearly in her favor, considering how she looked versus how Joanna looked. And this is not one of those situations where you could be like, bruised up face is not that big of a deal. Like, no, Joanna legitimately looked like she wasn't human at the end of this. It's ungodly toughness that kept her in there. And I just don't see how I don't see the calls for the rematch. I get it. You have such a great fight, a close fight. You want to see it. Joanna should not be in a title fight again. Not after this. I do think that this is the type of fight that could quite literally have broken her durability. I don't know if she can have another one of these. Like that had to have been hard.
This is like one of those fights where even if fighter doesn't get knocked out, if you see them return immediately to a high level again, then
yes,
you wouldn't be surprised if like just something about them changed.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the same thing with Rory McDonald when he came back after the Lawler fight. Like, it was his nose that was giving issue, not necessarily his durability, but like just his entire outlook on how he fought changed after that.
100%. He couldn't fight the same way he used to. Speaking of which, who would you like to see them fight next? Because you got Jessica Andrade has nobody booked. I don't see a point in rebooking her against.
Isn't she booked against Rose?
I don't think it's official.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's not official, then I'd like to see Rose fight Weili.
I mean, I don't want to see Rose fight Weili. No, I don't agree with that.
Why?
At all? Because one, with her mental, she was talked to about a title fight and she turned it down. So
okay, yeah, but like it's.
I don't see her being mentally that. No, I don't see her being mentally there. She got slam KO'd. I don't want to see her in a title fight right off the bat after dealing with all these issues and the KO. I don't see a point. I would rather see, just like if you're gonna do something, book that. Excuse me. Book the Andrade Namajunas matchup. Maybe put Namajunas versus Suarez. I think that might be a better match. And I think if you're gonna throw Joanna back into a high level, throw her in with Andrade. Show us if Andrade can come back and make adjustments against somebody who thoroughly outclassed her for 5 rounds, and see if Joanna's still able to do that. I think that's something that we actually learned something in that kind of matchup. So I guess if Rose is fighting Andrade and she beats her, yeah, cool. Give her the title shot. If she's not going to fight Andrade, I mean, I'm not sure. I really don't know if she's scheduled to fight Andrade. I don't think she is.
I remember reading about it a while ago, but
I think they were discussing it, but I don't know if they.
Yeah, I was about to say I can't remember this discussions or if it was like official.
I don't think
in any
so.
case, where would that leave? Would that leave Joanna?
Like I said, I don't think. Oh, you're right. I think they are booked. You are right. They are booked. UFC. Well, they were booked for UFC 249, which I think is canceled.
Is it? Did it get canceled now?
I think they can't officially postponing all events.
Well, I guess like 6 times the charm for that then.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to cancel it if they haven't. Yeah, I guess if wow, I'm very tired, boy. If Joanna, if Rose versus Andrade, and you still want to put her in that top 5, Nina Ansaroff is off pregnant. So congratulations to her and Amanda. But I guess Tatiana Suarez when she returns from injury. The other option is Claudia Gadelha, 3rd fight, I guess. I don't see any.
I think if Claudia is gonna fight anyone, I think it should be like Tatiana, but not Joanna. I'd rather have Joanna fight Tatiana.
Yeah. Look, as much as people want to talk about how much deeper women's strawweight is, it's kind of a clusterfuck in the rankings. Like number 5 is pregnant. The champ has beaten number 1 and number 4 now. Number 4 has beaten number 1 and 2. That's in the top 5 alone. Number 3 is coming off a neck injury. Number 1 and 2 fought each other. One was clearly the better fighter, but the other one won by a slam KO. The top 5 is kind of just completely backlogged. Then you have number 6 through 10. Claudia Gadelha clearly just like dropped, like lost the step. She's not the same fighter she was. Still good enough to beat most of the division, but not good enough to beat the top anymore. Carla Esparza, very clearly not the best, but keeps beating people who just have issues with wrestling. Then you have Michelle Waterson, who just lost Tijuana. She lost to Rose, if I'm not mistaken. Michelle is clearly a step below all of them. Then you have number 9, Marina Rodriguez, who is an interesting prospect who's very much not somebody who I could say confidently is ready for the top. Cynthia Cavillo is just like prospect that never stepped up and never really put anything together. I really think that she's kind of a failure as a prospect, and she's not young.
That sounds just like lightweight.
That's what I'm saying. Like lightweight is like super overrated. Like the ACA guys would fuck up pretty much every lightweight in the UFC. Italian, AAA, like these guys.
I'm not so like they'd probably take a lot of people out, but like after watching a few fights, I'm not so sure if they really
go watch Vartanian or AAA.
Thing is, okay, wait, I need to remember what my thoughts are because I watched this a while ago. Like Vartanian especially kind of reminded me of like a Rafael dos Anjos fighter, but with everything slightly kind of tweaked, where he's good at every area, better than dos Anjos in transitions. But obviously Prime dos Anjos had a pressure game that I'd say was a bit better than Vartanian's. It's like I could see him being champ, but he ended up in the clinch so much in his fights that like you kind of have to worry that if he fights someone who can take advantage of that habit better, that he might have a lot more trouble. Who's that other dude who like recently lost his title though? The other lightweight at ACA.
You talking about AAA? He didn't lose his title. Did he? Are you talking about? You're talking about Bagov?
No, not Bagov. Wasn't Bagov the one that went to 170?
He just went to 170. I think he's going to 170. I think he just went to 170. But
must be AAA then. I could see AAA. Champ. Honestly, I could see AAA being champ.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's beaten Vartanian multiple times, twice actually. But Bagov beat him by majority decision. Man, but those guys are like they would be top 10, like all 3 of them.
Yeah,
Bagov I think moved up though, but yeah.
I mean, comparing him
top
to
5 easily. Yeah, I think Vartanian's a much better. Yeah, but look how good RDA was.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's not supposed to be like sort of downplaying him. Like RDA was championship quality, just couldn't like win every single matchup at lightweight.
But I think that Vartanian's a better. Yeah, I think Vartanian is better. That's how good he is, though. I mean, aside like they would easily. I think that Vartanian or AAA would easily get to the top 3, and probably they all beat Ferguson. I'm sorry, like they all fucking wreck Ferguson. Like,
how did our opinions on Ferguson switch so quickly?
What?
It feels like a year ago. Everyone was high on Ferguson still.
No, I mean after the Cerrone fight is kind of when I was like, oh fuck that, no, no way.
Wait, why the Cerrone fight?
Because Cerrone should not be doing that well against somebody who's supposed to be that elite.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like he's always kind of been in the same place Khabib has been, where like he beat 1 or 2 elite guys, and then like have a weird fight against someone who turned out to not be elite at all.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know, it's strange because if you think about it, only Poirier has really taken like the normal championship like route up to the top. I mean, like it's one thing when you are fighting like Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje, but it's another when like guys like Lando Venata and Kevin Lee are making their name by being competitive off you while not being top 5 either at all. So, just
Fair.
strange.
Yep.
Although I am excited for this weekend's main event. Well, if it happens, not sure.
All right. Let's move on to so congratulations to Weili Zhang and get well soon, Joanna. You're still racist, but whatever. Peniel Dariush versus Drakkar Klose. That was fucking awesome.
I'm sad though.
Why? Benny Dariush is the man. I love him.
Yeah, but like I've never seen Dariush like zombie forward, completely out of stance and like throw punches like that before.
Oh yeah, that wasn't
Like,
great, but still that was awesome.
This feels like one of those like last hurrahs that like aging veterans do.
Yeah, I can see that. Although he did look great in the first round, to be fair.
He always looks great in the first round.
That is true.
So like that's still normal Dariush, but like it just made me sad when I saw him win like that. It was like, yeah, in this next fight, he's probably gonna get like just destroyed or something.
I do want him to stop winning so that he could start fighting, stop not taking elite guy on, but we'll see.
Problem is it's lightweight. Like even if he takes a step down, who's he gonna be fighting? Like Arman Saryukian, hyper athlete, who's also really good at grappling.
Let's have him fight. Who should we have him fight? Is he ranked?
I'm not sure.
He's not.
Oh. But I mean, still, like it's lightweight. Like there aren't that many low caliber opposition for him to fight, even if he is.
What about if he fights the Trinaldo McDessie winner?
You mean what if he fights Francisco Trinaldo?
Yes, exactly. What if he fights Francisco Trinaldo?
I'd probably pick Francisco Trinaldo, to be honest.
I'm not sure. But let's talk about this fight because I actually want to point out that Drakkar Klose did have the right idea of things and he did try to press Dariush back. The problem is he just didn't have the tools for it, physical or technically. And when he did do it, he ended up getting knocked the fuck out. So
that was funny, yeah.
That was funny as hell. That's part of my issue is that part of the main concern. One of the things about MMA is that's both lacking in many camps is the strategic side of things and not necessarily the technical side. Although pretty much every camp lacks the technical side in some way, shape, or form. But they'll give them the right tools to use, but not necessarily the right way to use them, or vice versa. In this case, Drakkar Klose had the right idea, as long as his camp press Dariush back, force him to fight with the back foot. Don't let him get his grappling game going, which he'll usually be able to do by getting your back on the fence or whatever it is. He couldn't really stop him. That's the problem. You have to give the guy the tools to use to actually accomplish the goals that you're trying to set, right? To pull off the strategic game plan. It's not enough to say, oh, this guy doesn't do well with when he's pushed off the back foot, so let's push him off the back foot. Great. How am I going to do that without getting countered, without getting taken down, without getting pushed back myself? Klose really didn't have an answer there. So
I think in that case, you should just follow the Olympian game plan, which is to tank every single shot possible and walk forward.
The Yoel Romero game plan?
The Yoel Romero, Daniel Cormier, Henry Cejudo, and less successfully, Ben Askren.
All right. Let's move on to Neil Magny.
Think about it. Every single Olympian has done that game plan before. Without fail. Well, Ben Askren failed. But
Ronda Rousey.
She had a lot more success than Ben Askren, to be fair.
She wasn't really a tank your shot person, though.
I know she tanked a lot of shots, but there wasn't that many hard punches. So
True. All right. Neil Magny, welcome back. Jinglong Li looked like shit. I don't know what the fuck happened.
This is what you get for picking against 8-0.
Why didn't we see anything? Lee looked incredible in his last fight.
Magny came back looking like a long TJ Dillashaw.
It's really weird, honestly.
I was laughing so hard at that fight. Like, oh damn! Like it looked so good, but like 2 years ago, could you imagine Magny striking like he trained under Dwayne Ludwig?
No.
Or could you imagine him throw with any intention behind the triple jab?
No. I don't know what to say, man. Fuck it. Whatever. Well
To be fair,
done.
I'm surprised. To be fair, I'm surprised he didn't pick for Magny to win the clinch, though.
I will say that this is what's going to happen. Neil Magny is going to get matched up with someone at the top again, and it's going to be funny when he loses. Like he's going to get matched with like Jeff Neal.
No, you know who they're gonna book him against next.
Santiago Ponzinibbio.
No. Think giraffe hands.
Who?
Giraffe hands.
James Vick?
No, the dude with really long shoulders.
Long shoulder. You mean Nico Price?
Yes.
I think he's booked.
Easy.
I think so.
Are you sure? Because like this seems exactly the sort of fight that they put Nico Price in.
I think he's booked.
Or like Mike
Yeah,
Perry.
he's facing Muslim Salikov on April 11th.
Oh, I didn't miss that fight. Okay, well then they'll probably book him against Mike Perry.
Oh God! And Mike Perry will knock him out in the third round. Next up was Max Griffin versus Alex Oliveira, split decision, which probably shouldn't have been the split decision.
I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I can't remember much of this fight.
It's okay. It wasn't worth remembering.
Yeah.
Then you had hold on a second. Sorry. Then you had Sean O'Malley coming out looking awesome. I'm so happy for him. There's still clearly some issues with him stylistically, defensively in particular. That bouncing, hop in and out style. I don't know how
like
well he
who
can.
in MMA is gonna be able to take advantage of that? Honestly, though, like there's probably like one or two fighters who could.
Well, this is bantamweight, so that's pretty high bar. Like, I don't think you pull that shit against Jan.
Yeah, but like you have to be at the top. Like I don't think he'd be able to pull that off with Jan.
What about even Sandhagen? Even Sandhagen, I think would overwhelm him. You know, against a Sun Tzu, I could see a Sun Tzu just countering him as he comes in, just like slipping or stepping aside from a front kick and just cracking him with a big right hand.
Not even a front kick, just that usual bounce into range. Like the Sun Tzu, unless the Sun Tzu has like really, really declined, he'd probably have that shit timed within the first 2-3 minutes.
Fucking hell! Like let's move even further down the rankings. Cody Stamann probably beats O'Malley at this point, right?
Not so sure. Maybe we can. Okay, wait, no. He has actually quite good timing on that reactive double I saw once, so that might be the case. On the feet, I'm not so sure.
They have to make Dodson versus O'Malley.
Don't know. No, why would you want that?
Think of how much bouncing we'll see.
Think about how bored I'd be.
How what?
Think about how boring it would be. Like, can you imagine a bantamweight version of like Adesanya versus Romero?
No, O'Malley's not low output though.
Yeah, but like Dodson hits hard. Like it could really easily end up that way. And O'Malley does kind of like that full counter.
I want to see it. Fuck it. Book it, Dana, you bitch.
Yeah.
You bald bitch. Bald bitching bitch. Wow. Mark Madsen took down Austin Hubbard a bunch. Rodolfo Vieira, just absolutely, what a gorgeous arm triangle.
Not going to talk about Madsen. No. Not going to talk about Madsen.
Not really.
Why?
Because I don't care.
But he's at lightweight.
So? That's why I don't think he's not going to do well.
Still an interesting experiment. I mean,
if you lose a round to Austin fucking Hubbard, I don't have much faith in you to do well, especially when you're like 38 or whatever the heck he is, 35 at lightweight.
God damn, that he's old, yeah.
Yeah, he's 35 at lightweight. This ain't light heavyweight, bitch.
I don't know. Book him against Gregor Gillespie in the future. They're both probably near the same age.
I don't know. I'd rather talk about Rodolfo. I'd rather talk about Rodolfo Vieira, to be honest.
I'm still kind of interested in Madsen. I mean, he has several issues even in the ground game. Just because like he can take down someone, doesn't really do any.
Yeah, he doesn't really do anything good on the top. That's part of my issue. That's why I don't really care.
Not even on top. Like you don't. I think by now we should all be aware that you don't need to be a top control wrestler for your wrestling to be effective. You just need to be able to weigh on someone. And whether that be like Usman in the clinch or Khabib or those mat returns. Just, keep them working, keep them busy, make sure that they're more tired than you. Then your game will work a lot better. And he does not do that at this point. He's very much that old school prospect Chad Mendes kind of guy where you just take you down and sort of like keep you there.
Yeah, well, you can't expect to hit 8 takedowns on every fighter, and you can't expect to be able to shoot 12 takedowns on every fighter either. He was outlanded in significant strikes. In the first round, he landed nothing significant. He landed 2 strikes the whole round. Like, that's not really interesting to
me. I don't know. I still see it as like a promising prospect, but like he has a lot of issues to work through before. Like
I don't think he has enough time, but whatever. All right, Rodolfo Vieira. Let's talk about an actual interesting prospect then. Okay, Rodolfo Vieira got rocked by a big front kick right to the face, came back, took Safarov down, who was a former light heavyweight and was massive compared to him, and just fucking ruined him on the ground. Just ruined him. And then, like, everything he did from start to finish was just so beautiful to watch. Man, I was so happy watching that. Like, the jiu-jitsu on display was
Why are you banging your table, Ben?
I'm so fucking happy about this, and I'm so excited to talk about it. He had a very... He was scout. Basically... The metagame of MMA is that when you get taken down, you kind of give your back up to stand up, and you're willing to usually do that because most MMA fighters are capable enough grapplers that they can defend a rear naked choke for extended periods of time when they're not hurt. And Rodolfo had that beautifully, just ready to counter that, and he did right off the bat. He was able to basically prevent Safarov's arm from clearing from being able to clear it and get to the mat to help him stand himself up, and essentially was able to use to push him back to the ground and start to threaten to pass the mount, continue to threaten the back. Just like the constant threat level that he was displaying against Safarov eventually forced him to give him that arm triangle. I don't have it clear enough in my mind to go step by step, but I'm hoping to maybe write an article for the fight site for it, maybe breaking it down. So yeah, keep an eye out for that in case it happens. But yeah, Rodolfo Vieira, much more interesting prospect for me than Madsen, especially because he's at 185, which is not as good a division. So you can probably go further just on that alone. And he's undefeated he's 30 years old, so he's pretty young still, especially for a middleweight. 2-0 in the UFC. Much more interesting to me than Mark Madsen, especially because he got 7 finishes in 7 fights.
Yeah, he actually seems really interesting, given that chakra is a non-factor anymore. For middleweight at least, he actually kind of seems like the second BJJ guy coming, or the third. And
third
was Maia.
It was Maia, then Jacare, and now it's you had the Antonio Carlos Jr. attempt, but not really panning out. So. But Carlos Jr. was nowhere near the level of Rodolfo Vieira. So.
Oh, also, I don't know. Antonio Carlos Jr. doesn't seem like the sort of athlete you'd expect to do well at 185. Just because, in really competitive divisions, basically everything between 125 and 185, you find that at the high level, fights tend to become sort of attrition based, and you need to be a good athlete to win those wars. Because it's one thing if you're at light heavyweight and you can sort of do everything well, but you kind of shit also. And it's another when you are getting into a war with like fucking Yoel Romero and you need to win. Like you can't be a subpar athlete in that division.
Right. All right. I'm gonna just mention Deron Winn losing and eating a shitload of body shots was just fucking hilarious. That's it. We're moving on to Brasilia because we've already been talking. We've been talking for 45 minutes, and this fight card is awesome.
Yeah, so I want to talk about Chucky Olives and Lee. Although I think you should probably go first because I feel like you might have insight on what's going to happen on the ground.
Well, so I actually think that this fight's going to end real quick. I'm thinking 2 or 3 minutes. I know that's a very specific prediction. Specifically, I think that Charles Oliveira is going to submit Kevin Lee in round 1.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I think he's going to sub him in round 1.
Okay, wait. I'm actually kind of surprised now. Please,
so
tell me.
This is going to be on the feet. On the feet, it's very important to talk about this because Kevin Lee, everyone's like, okay, he looked great in his fight with Gregor Gillespie, right? But here's the problem, all right? Here's the main issue that I have is Kevin Lee was getting hit a lot by Gregor Gillespie, who is not good at striking. Now, he ate every jab that Gregor Gillespie did, and he looked good. He pressured, he threw. He was really smart with his shot selection. Obviously, had that beautiful knockout. But the bottom line is that Charles Oliveira, right, is a much better striker, and he also is a really good pressure fighter himself. Historically, Kevin Lee has been willing to back up. He's been willing to let other fighters dictate whether he will pressure or whether they will pressure. He did it against pretty much everyone he's fought. Like Al Iaquinta, he consented to whatever range Al Iaquinta wanted for the most part. Same thing with Tony Ferguson. He can pressure, but he doesn't always choose to, and he's not necessarily the best with regards to footwork. Charles Oliveira, on the meantime, is very good at pressuring and is pretty relentless with it. Now, he can be pushed back as well. Paul Felder expressed that quite well in their fight. But since then, we've seen that Charles has actually steadily, slowly improved. There's a couple things that I want to talk about specifically with Charles Oliveira. The mental game. Kevin Lee, we've seen him one fight with TriStar, and that's it, right? We don't really know what we're going to see from him. We don't know how he's going to grow. We don't know what kind of tools he's going to come out with. I don't know. There's a question mark there. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, has clearly worked on his mental game, right? Dustin Poirier is the example I'm going to use because if you watch Dustin Poirier fight a lot, in a lot of his fights, you'll see that after he gets hit with a very good shot or in an exchange where he kind of didn't get what he wanted done, you see him kind of do like these little twitches, right? Or these, like, you see like what they are. They're mental resets, essentially, where it's like, I'm fine. It's okay. Especially after he gets hit with some hard shots. He'll see him get that mental reset. You see him like turn his head, touch himself, exhale deeply, something. Charles Oliveira has that same thing. If you watch a lot of his recent fights, Christos Giagos, David Tamor, you see him do those little ticks. That's the best way I could put it. Like, I'm going to call them a tick, where he kind of just like decompresses. Like, it's a firefight. He needs to just chill, and then he can go forward again. I think that is something that's important because then we finally saw the culmination of this. The David Tamor fight, I think, is the most impressive display of a fighter who folds historically, showing that they can turn around. David Tamor, I poked him twice. Okay? Charles Oliveira took him down, couldn't control him, ended up losing the position and the submissions. David Tamor got up again, and then he got knocked down pretty hard as he was aggressively pressuring David Tamor. Tamor got on top, tried to land a couple shots, and eventually separated. If Oliveira got up, now this is the Oliveira of old, he might never have even gotten up in the first place. But he got up and immediately started pressuring Tamor again. He never stopped pressuring from that moment on, and eventually finished him. Probably should have gotten a TKO, but Jaron Vallel's not a good ref, and just ended up submitting him with an anaconda choke off a failed shot from David Tamor while he was rocked. Just that level of mental fortitude that we've seen in that fight from Oliveira is something we literally have never seen from him before. Now, what does that mean for him in this fight? We have Kevin Lee, who basically was folded as a wrestler, versus Charles Oliveira, who folded as a as a grappler, right? Oliveira's improvements on the feet are tangible. He's got he kicks to the body a ton, which is something I think is really important because Kevin Lee does not have the best gas tank. Oliveira's developed some really nice counter-punching skills, and he pressures you to try and get some big moments out of you. And the other thing that's really important on the feet is that Kevin Lee, while he's pretty athletic, his punching mechanics in particular are something that's going to be a problem for him. He definitely overextends himself on a lot of his punches. He throws himself forward. And Charles Oliveira is something that is not talked about enough. He is an excellent takedown artist. He is really good at initiating clinch exchanges. He got takedowns on Tamor. He got takedowns on Jim Miller, Chris Tchiajos, got 2 takedowns on Paul Felder, Will Brooks, Ricardo Lamas. He got 4 takedowns on Anthony Pettis. So I don't know what you would say, whatever. But like, he didn't get any takedowns on either Gordon or Lentz, but he didn't shoot any takedowns on either of them either. So what he does in these exchanges is that he will allow a person to overextend while he's pressuring them, use it to duck into the clinch, or if he's really feeling it, a reactive shot. And he had a really good reactive shot. He had a gorgeous one on Tchiajos in their fight. What's impressing me more and more, though, is that Oliveira, while he's obviously a submission hunter, considering the fact that he's got the most submissions in UFC history, I think, he's also much more focused on control. His Jim Miller fight is something that needs to be talked about, because if you look at their original fight, he was in a very just frantic, crazy grappling exchange. Granted, it was almost 10 years ago, but look at how he faced Jim Miller, who's a legitimate black belt, who's a really good grappler. It's not like he gets submitted by everyone. Like, the dude is a really fucking good grappler, right?
Why are you so hand-banging today?
I don't know. Leave me alone. He lost by submission to Charles Oliveira, yeah. But the only other person who he's lost to by submission is Nate Diaz. And that was after getting badly rocked. Jim Miller is no joke on the ground, and he's had some incredible grappling exchanges with tons of really good grapplers as well, and submitted a ton of people himself. And Oliveira just systematically took him apart and submitted him from the back in 1 minute and 15 seconds. That is incredible. That's a really, really important feather in his cap. It's one thing to submit Clay Guida. It's another, like submitting Will Brooks, like Miles Jury. Like, these are really good grapplers, and it's impressive that he's submitted people like that, like Hatsuyoki. Like these are people who it's really impressive that he was able to submit these people. It's another level to take someone who, granted, not in his athletic prime, but still a really good grappler, and that's something that he always has in his back pocket to usually rely on to win fights for him. And it wasn't there. He just completely got dismantled. So, in particular, where I think that Kevin Lee has the advantage is that if he can get the rest, he has to wrestle. He has to take Oliveira down. But he can tend to use strength in the grappling exchanges. I think he's really good for the most part. He's not a dumb scrambler, but for particularly, I was watching in the Tony Ferguson fight. When he got tired is one thing, but even in the first round when he wasn't tired, there was a point in time where Kevin Lee used a moment to initiate a clinch exchange and got a takedown on Tony. And Tony almost got mount on him. He almost reversed the exchange. And Kevin Lee quite literally hulked him back over into full guard. The problem is that he also left his arm, like, just in a really bad spot. Like, if Tony would have shot his leg over for an armbar, it could have been there.
So you're saying if Tony had a better guard, he might have been able to get the submission?
I'm saying if Tony was more of was a better. I'm saying if Tony's guard is fine, but like, it's really not that amazing. It's not, but it's good. It's really good. For most people, don't have submission-oriented guards in MMA or damage-oriented guards. He's really good at it, but he's not like Oliveira's better at it. Oliveira's got a better submission game off his back than Tony Ferguson does, clearly. So, like, Oliveira is
I just wanted to bait you into saying that for everyone to hear, so we may continue.
Yeah, Khabib's gonna fuck him up, and it's gonna be hilarious if they fight. So the problem is that Kevin Lee is not necessarily the most tight in his attacks on the ground. Yes, he's got good ground and pound. Yes, he's got good passing. His back takes in particular are otherworldly, and if he can get Oliveira's back, he could probably submit him. But I don't necessarily trust that Kevin Lee's going to be able to do that consistently. I don't think Oliveira is going to give him the back immediately. What I do think is going to happen is that we're going to see Oliveira push the action initially. If Oliveira gets pushed back, this is a much better fight. If Oliveira is able to press forward, I think we're going to see Kevin Lee wilt and get hurt and get subbed. If he shoots after getting hurt by Oliveira, he's going to get anaconda, he's going to get, Darst, he's going to get Bravo choked, he's going to get fucking something, or guillotine, something's going to happen there. If he gets hurt and overextends on punches, and Oliveira's moving forward, I think we're going to see Oliveira potentially take Lee down and get him down and actually work his game from top. I do think that if Lee can press forward, I think it's imperative Lee presses forward. He has to pressure and he has to wrestle. He cannot be afraid of the guard of Oliveira, because if he is, I don't think he has a chance in this fight. If he tries to just do an entire kickboxing fight with Oliveira, I think he'll lose. I do think that Oliveira is going to be able to press forward. I do think that his body assault was really going to trouble Lee early, and I think that Lee's going to kind of get a little bit flustered. I think he's going to eat some big shots, panic shoot, or shoot when he's not really in the best position to shoot, and Chuck Yalls is going to get the sub. I could see a club and sub, but I think it's going to be more like he hurts Lee, and then Lee shoots or tries to do something a little bit too overextendy, and then Oliveira can initiate a grappling exchange. That's my take on this fight. I know it's a long one, but I'm really excited for this. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, from your table.
Yeah, it's one of those fights where it's like I'm really excited for it. I think it's really, really an interesting fight in a lot of ways, but I also think that it could end really early, and I think it will.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of analysis for very little fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned a lot of stuff that I also had in mind, although I don't think I had nearly as many things in mind as you. The only two things that I want to also maybe bring up is I think maybe you are underrating Lee in transitions a little bit, because honestly, I think his transitional game, especially when someone else engages or in the clinch or tries to grapple him, is a lot better than when he initiates. So like when Michael Chiesa or Francisco Trinaldo shot on him, like he was able to get to good positions with barely any control, which part of it comes down to the strength advantage you mentioned. But like another thing is he just seems to have a really good feel in those sort of in-between gray areas. So it will be interesting if Oliveira does shoot on him, what would happen from there. Although I'm not sure that like Oliveira would have to shoot on him for him to win, for the same reasons you mentioned, especially if he's going to be pushing a hectic pace. The other thing is, and this is a bit more negative on Lee, but I'm not sure that TriStar is the right camp when it comes to game planning for this fight in particular. Because they are it doesn't happen with all fights, but a lot of the time they very much take the sort of, strike with a grappler, wrestle with the striker sort of game plan. And like Oliveira is, I think it'd be best to describe him as a grappler just because of the danger it presents there. But like, I don't think Lee's gonna be well suited to a striking battle on the feet, especially if he can't finish Oliveira early. Like, you will most likely gas it at if the fight goes past round 3. So I'm not sure that TriStar in particular is well equipped in this style match. Because like, what if they just tell him to come out there and, work his jab and try to strike with Oliveira, and Oliveira continues, like, just doesn't mentally fold and continues the pace into the championship rounds. Like, I won't be able to pick Lee in that case. Like,
well, that's the thing. It depends if that happens. If they go a few rounds, who's going to break first? I'm personally going to say that the person who has shown actual tangible steps in that game consistently and is on a 6-fight win streak, to have that kind of confidence, I think that that's more important.
For me, it's more simple than that even. It's just that Oliveira's broke usually because because of what you said there. Like, he kind of got flustered in situations where he wasn't winning, and he ended up making more mistakes and kept adding up. That's sort of what cost him. With Kevin Lee, it was less of that and more him just getting gas that caused those problems. And like, it's one thing when you can sort of work around your mental issues to push forward. It's another thing when your body just won't let you. So I don't trust him unless he can slow the fight down. And I don't trust him, again, for the reasons you mentioned, to win like a fight on the feet. It's just more I'm really interested to see if Chucky Olive shoots on him, just for that transitional game of his. Because I feel like he can make headway, and if he, like, so far we've seen that he's almost impossible to shuck off once he gets mount. So like, if he's able to capitalize on a failed takedown of Oliveira, then I imagine like this fight would be very interesting. But yeah, I don't know who to pick in this fight. You mentioned most of the things, so there isn't much more for me to say in any case aside from this.
Okay. Moving on, it's Damian Maia versus Gilbert Burns. I'm not going to talk about this fight. I can't talk about this fight too much for one of two things. Either Maia is completely shot, which he probably is, and Gilbert Burns probably knocks him out.
Fuck you.
No, that's it. That was it. Damian Maia is probably completely shot, and Gilbert Burns probably knocks him out.
Fuck you.
This bothers me. Moicano's moving up to lightweight to fight Damir Hadzovic. It's kind of a layup. I don't see Damir being able to really trouble. Assuming Moicano is not, broken, which I hope he's not. This kind of seems like a easing into the division type of fight. You know what I mean? This is the type of fight he should win. Damir is fine, but he's not great. He's coming off a loss to Christos Chiajos, who's also solid, but not. He's a solid fighter. Nothing special.
What you're saying is he's like Moicano's getting booked with like an average fighter.
Yeah, a pretty average lightweight fighter to kind of see where he's at, and I think he'll win. I think he'll have like a bit of like it'll be weird. I do think that we'll see a little bit more pop in Moicano strikes. I think that we'll get a James Krause situation where he was cutting so much weight that it was kind of like taking steam off his punches, and I think he's going to throw with a little bit more intention, a little more weight behind them, and it's gonna show. I don't necessarily think he'll knock out Damir because Damir is really tough, but I wouldn't be shocked if he can get like an attrition TKO. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be pretty stoked if he was able to get the leg kick TKO just by like pumping up the volume a bit more.
We'll see. Johnny Walker versus Nikita Krylov.
We are not talking about this.
Yes, we are. The memeiest fight of all time. Not. Johnny Walker is going to come out trying to jab, and immediately like it'll fall apart because he's only had like 2 months of training with a jab. Nikita Krylov is going to probably submit him in the first round or second round.
Yeah, no, most likely. By Islander rules, Nikita Krylov is the new OSP, which means that Johnny Walker can't beat the OG. So
no, Nikita Krylov is going to submit it with a flan flu choke. Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. Formiga versus Moreno. This one is interesting, but it's also this is one of those fights where I have a feeling that it's going to be a passing of the torch moment. I do think Moreno's actually going to. I think Moreno. I know I'm going to get shit for this. I think he's going to knock out Formiga in the first. I think he's going to come out really, really hard, pumping that jab the same way he was in this fight with Kai France. And I think Formiga is kind of like a count. He's really good at using like his very technical meat and potatoes game. He loves his pivots to get out of to close the door with his hooks. I think that what we're going to see is him get a little bit overwhelmed by Moreno's volume. And what Moreno's going to be looking to do is going to feint. He's going to use that jab, and he's going to try and get the reaction of him ducking to not ducking necessarily, but trying to slip to his right and I think he's gonna throw that head kick and knock out Formiga. I think
No,
he's gonna.
fuck you. First you pick Burns, and now you pick Moreno. Like, no, fuck off.
Moreno is also a grappler, so
Fuck off.
okay, so I can do
Just
this.
fuck off, Ben.
Burns is also like they're both jiu-jitsu guys, so I don't feel
I
as
don't care.
bad.
Like you picking against like the two OGs here. So,
But do you disagree with the analysis necessarily? Like I wouldn't
No,
be
but
shocked
like
if
that-
Formiga
that-
can.
that-
I wouldn't be shocked if Formiga can play play Matador like he did with Figueiredo. But I don't think he can do it with Moreno because Moreno can put out a much higher pace than Figueiredo consistently. I do think
but
Formiga, if Formiga can get his back, I think he'll be able to control Moreno for longer periods of time.
I was about to say your assumption is that like Formiga wouldn't be able to do Formiga stuff anymore.
It does. I don't think necessarily that's true. I think he could still do the Formiga stuff. The problem is I don't know if he's durable enough to eat the shots that he will, I think, eat in this fight.
Well, I mean, like he lost to Joe Benavidez, who is like
He's also 34.
he's at that. Yeah,
he's
but
34
like
and this is his 30th fight.
Joe is at that nexus where he is somewhat declining, but he's still crafty and like a good enough athlete that he can do stuff like that. I don't trust Moreno. Unless Formiga has declined more, I don't trust Moreno to be able to do that.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to talk about any other fights, though, because it's already an hour and 6 minutes, unless there's anything you want to particular to bring up.
No, I was mainly just excited for the main event, basically.
Do you think Easy S will look good or no?
Easy S?
Eliza Zaleski decided.
Oh, that dude. I thought you meant like Easy S as in like Easy G or something. No. I have no idea. I can't tell that dude anymore. I mean, like, he has a good ground game. He knows when to use takedowns. And he has a mimi striking game, which is what failed him against Li Jingliang. So...
Mimi?
Yeah, like the capoeira shit.
Oh.
No, like, he's a great athlete, but, like, no. Like, if he's going to be fighting like that, then book him against Michel Prazeres.
So you would pick Konchenko?
Well, maybe. He's still a great athlete.
His best win is a loss to Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, the only thing is...
He's beaten Thiago Santos and Yushin Okami.
No, you know what? I'm going to pick Easy DS, but like I still don't want to talk about this fight much.
Yeah, it's fine. That's
like
fine.
For the reasons I just mentioned, like he has good timing on his takedowns and a good ground game. If he comes out playing safe, he'll probably do that.
Oh, Rana Yaya's fighting. I forgot.
Wait, he's fighting also. Who?
Enrique Barzola.
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Yes, it will.
This is probably not gonna. Well, might last long. No, it won't last long. It'll probably be like a first or second round thing. Just because I don't think Barzola will necessarily back off as much as Lando did. You there?
I didn't hear you.
No, I'm just saying I'm like extremely excited for that fight. Because I don't think Barzola is going to back off Hani Yahya that much. So it will be quite exciting.
All right.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Oh. You're first on the table, so I like assumed you were like.
Oh no. Marina Rose is fighting. Yeah, the Yaya Barzola fight is definitely going to be fun. I'm curious if Yaya can work his takedown game against Barzola. I do think he'll be able to get him down, but I don't know.
Wait, I was thinking of a different fighter.
Who are you thinking?
You mentioned takedown game. I can't get to his name now, but like I had his name confused for Yaya.
Who? Oh, so
Foul puncher, dude.
You didn't even know who I was talking about then.
Yeah, although now that you mentioned takedown game, I think I know who Yaya is again.
He's like the actual athletic jiu-jitsu guy.
Oh, him. Okay, yeah, this is still gonna be fun, but like in a completely different way. Because like Barzola is sort of good everywhere, so I don't expect him to really back down from the ground game, especially now that he's training at AKA.
Oh yeah. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, Barzell. I'm gonna pick Yaya by submission. Maybe the third round.
I'm gonna pick Barzola.
Yeah, Barzell will probably win, but I want to pick Yaya. I'm gonna pick the Jiu-Jitsu guy. All right, we're done. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been Ben.
And
It's been Bilal. Yes, Bilal. Speak, and you shall be
remember,
heard.
you keep forgetting to advertise your meat.
No, I'm
I
not.
can't believe.
I
Yes, you do.
advertise it on Twitter more than I do on here. So yeah, if you want to buy my meat, buy my meat.
Yeah, Ben's
Nobody's
meat
gonna
is now
buy. No
spicy.
one's gonna buy meat in the coronavirus situation right now.
This is why you advertise during the coronavirus situation. So once it clears, everyone will be thinking only about your meat.
Or I could just say that it lasts a really long time, so you can keep. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna stop recording.